Welcome to CFM 10. Come follow me 10 minutes at a time. We're kicking off the first 7 chapters of 1st Nephi in the Book of Mormon. I warn you in advance that these chapters cover some violent material, such as a brother-on-brother thrashing, a death by decapitation, and even a hostage taking. Whoa! You can call me Jay. These 10-minute episodes are to provide my family and friends a few ideas to help with their weekly scripture study. Sorry, I am not teaching a whole gospel doctrine lesson, but rather I'm just hitting a few highlights as shown here on the left. Okay, first topic, a talk by Elder Christofferson. The Come Follow Me manual is actually really good. It's available on the LDS website. And this week's lesson has some links to some really excellent videos. And one that I really like is this talk by Elder Christofferson about what might have happened if Moroni in 400 AD, if he had been killed by the death squads that were searching for him. Elder Christofferson also asks what would have happened if William Tyndale had not created the English version of the Bible. He talks about how this great, amazing Oxford and Cambridge educated scholar, William Tyndale, was executed in 1536 by King Henry VIII of England. What was William Tyndale's crime? Simply publishing the Bible in the English language. Imagine, that was once a crime. Anyway, Tyndale's last words, which are referred to in the talk, were a prayer about the king. So go ahead and watch the talk, and you'll see that his prayer was completely answered and helped kick off the Protestant Reformation in England, which led to the Gospel Restoration, which led us to getting the Book of Mormon. You can find the link under Show More below. Okay, the next topic, we're going to talk about Book of Mormon versions. I have a large collection of books. For instance, when I study the Bible, I actually have 4 different versions. I have the KJV, the NIV, the NRSV, and my favorite, the Weymouth New Testament translation. And all of them are great. And of course, you can access more Bible translations online. But I also have many versions of the Book of Mormon. Of course, in contents, they're all 99% exactly the same, nothing really added or deleted. But still, they're slightly different from each other. So here is one from the, this one from the Friends of Christ, which used to be called the Reorganized LDS Church until 2001. So that's their version. The original manuscript, and you can actually see Oliver's handwriting. I don't know if you can really see it. It took about 65 to 75 days to do the translation, where Joseph Smith would dictate and Oliver would write. And the writing was actually one continuous run-on sentence with no punctuation. So you can see Oliver Cowdery's writing. So this is another version. This version here is a reprint of the original 1830 version of the Book of Mormon. And it reads like a normal chapter book, with much longer chapters, because in 1879, Orson Pratt reformatted the Book of Mormon that was in this style to the current chapter and verse arrangement, similar to the way the King James Bible has chapters and verses. By the way, this 1830 version is what Parley Pratt would have read all in one sitting when he stated that eating and sleeping were a burden, because all he wanted to do was read this version of the Book of Mormon cover to cover. Anyway, every version is good, especially the free one you can get online, and also the blue ones the missionaries hand out. They even have some pictures and things at the beginning. So whatever Book of Mormon you use, they're all great. The next thing I wanted to mention was that there are now journal editions of the Book of Mormon. So besides all those other versions that I just showed, and I have many more, I wanted to let you know that there are now journal versions. So With these, it's got the text of the Book of Mormon in the middle, but has really wide margins so that you can write your notes or your thoughts or diagrams or scripture references or whatever you want to write in there. So it's a combination of a Book of Mormon and a journal. And I do actually a review on some of these. And there's a whole bunch of them, different styles. They're made by or published by Deseret Book, but you can also get them on Amazon, and I put the link below. These ones here, this blue one and this pink one, they're missionary versions, so a little smaller, easier to carry around. This one is actually a large font, so you don't need your reading glasses. So it's a really nice version of the Book of Mormon with the wide margins, so you can use it as a journal. So just a suggestion. Book of Mormon videos. You must be aware by now that the church has invested a lot to make Book of Mormon videos, like the one that's playing behind me right now. They tell the stories from the Book of Mormon and teach the doctrines, and since much of the Book of Mormon is an adventure story and a narrative with many heroes and villains, it really lends itself well to the movie format. So if you click on Show More below, you can find a link to the Book of Mormon video that applies to this week's lesson. Okay, next on the list. Who was Zedekiah? Lehi's ministry starts in chapter 1 when he's praying, and then God speaks to him in a pillar of fire on a rock. We also learn in chapter 1 that Lehi was one of many prophets, such as Jeremiah, who appeared in the first year of the reign of Zedekiah. This is around 600 BC, maybe a little later. King Zedekiah was just 21 years old when King Nebuchadnezzar II of Babylon appointed Zedekiah to be his puppet king over Judah. Zedekiah reigned for about 11 years, and he was actually a bad puppet because he tried to make an alliance with the other major power in the region. That would be Pharaoh Hophra of Egypt. So Zedekiah was punished by the Babylonians for him double-crossing them and trying to make a deal with the Egyptians. So first, they murdered Zedekiah's sons right in front of him. So now he would have no kingly descendants. Then they gouged Zedekiah's eyes out. So the last thing King Zedekiah would have seen was the murder of his sons. But Zedekiah may have had one small glimmer of hope, because the Babylonians apparently missed one of his sons. Somewhere there was a young Mulek in hiding. And Mulek's people, the Mulekites, emerge much later in the Book of Mormon, living in the land of Zarahemla. So we'll hear from them later. Okay, next thing we wanted to cover, Lehi in the wilderness. So let's continue our story. Again, it's now about 589 BC, and Babylon controls Judah. Zedekiah's betrayal of Babylon by making an alliance with Egypt has triggered an all-out siege of Jerusalem by Nebuchadnezzar. This siege lasts 2.5 years, and it is absolutely devastating to the Jewish people. Of course, Lehi and other prophets totally predicted that this wipeout would happen because the people were wicked. Luckily, in chapter 2, we read that Lehi, in a dream, was instructed to leave Jerusalem. So Lehi takes his family into the wilderness, and this is where we read about Lehi and Sariah, his wife, and their 4 sons, Laman and Lemuel, who we know were rebellious, and Nephi and Sam, who were obedient and righteous. So a key part of the narrative is that the Lord commands Lehi to send his 4 sons back to Jerusalem to get the brass plates from a man named Laban. The brass plates were probably written in some type of Egyptian. They would have contained the Old Testament plus some other writings from prophets such as Zenos and Zenock and others. when he was asked to go and get the brass plates, here is Nephi's famous answer in 1 Nephi 3:7. He said, I will go and do the things which the Lord hath commanded, for I know that the Lord giveth no commandments unto the children of men, save he shall prepare a way for them, that they may accomplish the thing which he commandeth them. Anyway, so to wrap things up, we see that the plot thickens. So keep doing your reading. Be sure to like, subscribe, and I'd really appreciate it if you'd share this video. See you next time.